It's heavy.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie, yo, 181. Day in the neighborhood, my people. It is time to get into another one, y'all. Time to get into another one of these crazy ass true crime stories. And my audio might still sound a little different right now because the piece that I was telling y'all about ain't showed up yet. It should be here by sometime this evening, hopefully. And tomorrow, we'll be back on track for real. I digress. We're going to go and get into this story, man. And we're going back to our homegirl for this one. She just dropped it yesterday. And that homegirl is annasolves. Once again, back to Anna, y'all. And the title of the video is The Lesbian Love Triangle That Led to the Murder of a 12-year-old. See, when I seen the video title, first thing that just came to my mind is like, how did this lead to the murder of a little child? Just because y'all three in y'all little love triangle, how did this lead to a little child getting, you know what I'm saying, being deceased? That's my main question with this one. I'm ready to get into it, my people. But before we get into it, my people, y'all know what y'all gotta do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We back to annasolves once again. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's fucking go.
I can't even imagine how frightened she was. There's just no way for me to even begin to know.
They smashed her face in. They beat her head in with a tire iron.
She was alive when they set her on fire.
I think I've covered enough awful crime stories on this channel to prove that when teenage girls get mean, they get really mean. But this case is totally incredible. It's so shocking that I've got to warn you ahead of time how bad it is. And horribly, all the tragedy could have been avoided if only one person involved had spoken up while it was happening. So now you've been warned, just hold on tight. Shanda Sharer was just a regular 12-year-old living in Madison, Indiana. She went to Hazelwood Middle School and lived a pretty normal life. Her mom, Jacqueline, or Jacques Vaught, described her like this.
And she was a typical little girl, very athletic, you know, in every sport, cheerleading, everything she could be in, she was in.
Now, Shanda really hated to upset anyone. The idea of having hurt someone else would make her really tearful, which makes what happened to her even more unbearable. On January 10th, back in 1992, Shanda was staying the weekend at her dad's house. That's because her parents had separated. On that evening, Shanda answered the door to two girls. Her dad, Steve Sharer, could overhear that they wanted her to go with them. The super weird part, they had specifically asked for Shanda, but didn't even recognize her when she had answered the door.
What the fuck? Y'all want me to go with y'all, but y'all don't even know who I am. And that made me wonder, did you know, did Shanda know who they was? And bro, this worse than murder, man. This is a torturous murder. You know what I'm saying? This just ain't no shot to the head. What Anna said, that she got beaten with a damn tire iron. She got fucking set on fire and she was still alive. Like, this is horrible. And I was thinking they was adults, but they look like they teenagers, you know what I'm saying? 15, 16, 17, around that age or whatever. But it still don't excuse this shit. Let's see why in the hell they trapped this girl into being murdered by them. What? Why? Let's see.
So her dad was worried. Steve Sharer questioned Shanda about who the girls were, but she didn't want to say and seemed to be lying about why they'd visited. Still, as far as Steve knew, Shanda didn't leave with them that evening. So he went to bed and Shanda stayed up watching TV. Unfortunately, by the next morning, Shanda was missing from her dad's house. Her mom and dad searched frantically and even filed a missing person report with the authorities. Then, at about 11 a.m. on the same morning, two men were driving home past a field close to a nature reserve and an old weapons factory. They spotted what they really hoped was just a mannequin wrapped in a blanket next to the road. But I think you can already guess it was something much worse.
Yeah, we can.
A body had been burned inside an old blanket and left at the side of the road. The only way to figure out the identity was using dental records. And of course, it was poor Shanda Sharer. That afternoon, the sheriff's department delivered the worst news to her mom and dad. I can't even imagine how that felt. And there was much worse to come. Because what Shanda had suffered while she was missing was completely evil, like something out of a Saw movie. Basically, all your worst nightmares come to life. But who could do something so awful to someone as sweet as her? It had to be some creepy, psycho, slasher movie monster, right?
Nope.
Nope. This was done by someone a lot closer to home. In fact, several someones.
Why?
Now, a little background info is needed here. After her mom and dad had divorced, Shanda and her mom moved to New Albany in 1991. As a new kid in town, Shanda must have been really happy to make some new friends. She got really close to a slightly older girl called Amanda Heavrin. Now, Shanda was still figuring out who she was and had even been dating some boys on and off. But when she and Amanda's friendship got romantic, she made a vicious enemy of another girl, Melinda Loveless.
Oh, shit.
Now, Melinda sounds like the absolute last person you'd want to upset. She could probably be called troubled. I'll go into more detail on that later. Melinda used to date Amanda, and when Shanda arrived, she was totally enraged. It all came to a head at a school dance, which Amanda and Shanda went to as a couple. Believing that Amanda had been stolen away from her, Melinda went after Shanda at the dance and even threatened to end her life. Now, this wasn't just an online threat, and those are bad enough. This was up close and personal. Amanda had also sent some detailed love letters to Shanda, which weren't very appropriate. After all that trauma, Shanda's mom tried to protect her daughter, who, remember, was still a minor. So Shanda got transferred away from her school to Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which was a Catholic school in New Albany. But moving wasn't really enough. Amanda kept on trying to see Shanda. Remember those two girls who visited on January 10th?
Yeah.
They came back later that same evening, after Steve Sharer had gone to bed. They told Shanda that they were friends of Amanda and wanted to take her to meet Amanda at a spooky local ruin called the Witch's Castle.
God damn, bro. That's how they got her, man. I can't even fault her because she's so young, y'all. She only 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? Shit, man. I don't want to fault her, but just make sure y'all kids understand don't go nowhere with no damn strangers. That's all I'm going to say, man. Just make sure your kids understand don't go nowhere with no strangers. Don't y'all go nowhere with no fucking stranger either, man. If you don't know who the hell they is, fuck talking about where they going to take you. They know you through this person. Fuck that. Don't go.
So Shanda had actually agreed to go out with them later, and those two girls were Hope Rippey and Toni Lawrence. They all got into the car with another teenager called Lori Tackett. All the teenagers were just a few years older than Shanda. But what Shanda didn't know was that Melinda was hiding in the back of the car under a blanket, and she was armed.
Crazy, bro. Then they crazy, y'all, that all them other girls in on the shit. They doing all this for Melinda. Man, Melinda, get the fuck on. I'm not helping you do shit. I'm finna go tell the damn police that you talking about killing this girl. Shit, matter of fact, for real, bro. That let me know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. You know what I'm saying, bro? All them motherfuckers need to be tried for this shit. All of them do. Not just Melinda. All of them.
Melinda claimed she wanted to scare Shanda and had brought a knife to make it more effective. Hope, Lori, and Tony had never met Shanda, but they all wanted to make Shanda pay for stealing Amanda away. Only it wasn't long before that scare got way out of control. Here, Hope explains how it all started.
I didn't know Melinda. I'd only met her once before. That night she was agitated and she didn't want Shanda around Amanda. She was gonna beat her up. It was gonna be Melinda teaching Shanda a lesson to leave Amanda alone.
They drove out to the witch's castle and threatened Shanda, saying that she had to stop seeing Amanda.
Melinda was more taunting her, and I was being a bully too. I was laughing at her, making remarks about the situation. I bet you're gonna leave Amanda alone now.
But it was even worse than that. Shanda's mom said,
They took her there and took off most of her clothes, wanted her, threatened to cut off her hair, told her they were going to throw her in a dungeon that was there or something, where there were bones from dead bodies. I can't even imagine how frightened she was. There's just no way for me to even begin to know.
After this, they all left Witch's Castle because too many cars went past. They even drove deeper into the woods. There was a big fight between Melinda and Shanda. Girls can be so vicious. Melinda used the blade to hurt Shanda really badly. The weapon was too blunt to be very effective, but they'd also put a rope around Shanda's neck and used it to hit her head against a rock on the ground. Eventually, they cut off her air until they assumed poor Shanda had passed away. But Shanda was very tough, and when they heard her still screaming in the trunk, they just drove around with her still in the car, not knowing what to do next.
I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to stop it. I know that it's selfish, and I know that it's wrong.
But they had...
Don't nobody want to hear that fucking shit. Don't nobody want to hear that shit with them fake ass crocodile tears you trying to make come out. We don't want to hear that shit. Your ass should have never been in that situation. When goddamn Melinda even told you about this plan and all that, you should have never, you put yourself here and you going along with it. You keep going along with it. You could have stopped it at some point, like, okay, this shit going too far. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear that fucking shit now, bro. I'm getting a little mad, ain't it? Let's go.
Already gone way too far, and they just wanted to cover up what they did. Honestly, that was all they seemed to care about. And while Shanda was still suffering in the trunk of the car, two of them hung out at a punk rock gig. And another even went back to one of their parents' houses, spoke to their dad, and then came back to the car. There were so many chances for even one of them to help poor Shanda.
Exactly.
But nobody said anything. Shanda went through awful things that night, including a violation in the worst way, using the car's tire iron. But when they still couldn't seem to end her life, the four monsters decided to tie her up inside a blanket and set it on fire. They bought a 2-liter soda bottle, emptied it out, and refilled it with gasoline. They dumped Shanda on the ground out by the weapons factory. Hope was the first to pour gas on what they thought was Shanda's body. Actually, she was still fighting to live. But as they drove off, they realized the fire didn't take, so they drove back and tried to do it again, using the rest of the gas. The autopsy revealed that Shanda finally passed from smoke inhalation inside the blanket. Such a horrible way to go when she was already suffering from other totally brutal attacks. Her last recorded word was "mommy." After being up all of that night, the four sickos were really hungry. They went to a local McDonald's where they actually laughed out loud about how poor Shanda resembled the breakfast sausage.
Wow.
I have no words for this. But would the four of them ever face justice? After a few days, Tony Lawrence couldn't take the guilt of what they'd done anymore and went to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office to confess. It didn't take long for Hope Ripley to do the same, although their reports went a little differently. But as the two who did the most to hurt Shanda, both Lovelace and Tackett got arrested the next day. But how could anyone look at what these girls did to Shanda and think they deserved a lower sentence?
I know, right?
I guess Part of it is that most of them had extremely dark childhoods.
So?
Melinda had a disgusting father who abused her, her mother, and her sisters too. Lori Tackett's parents were also abusive. She often tried to end her own life and worshipped the occult. Toni Lawrence may have been violated in her early teens. Only Hope's involvement mostly came out of nowhere, and she now claims she did the least to poor Shanda. Initially, they were all tried as adults, and all got 60 years. But after a lot of appeals, they got their sentences cut way down. Only Lori didn't appeal and served all of her time. And as of early 2023, all 4 of them are free. Toni Lawrence even has kids of her own now. But what's even sadder is that they took another life that night. It just took longer to kick in. Shanda's dad, Steve, eventually died of alcoholism in 2005, aged just 53 years old. He just never got over what had happened to his daughter. Sometimes, it's just impossible to recover from something so awful. Shanda's mom has spent years trying to understand what they did and find some closure.
I never don't miss Shanda. I never don't, talk to her every day. She is still a part of my life.
Nearly 20 years later, she's learned about a program that lets prisoners train dogs to help vulnerable people, which Melinda Loveless was a major part of. In 2012, Jack Vaught donated a dog to this program specifically for Loveless. She said, "It's my choice to make. Shanda's my child. If you don't let good things come from bad things, nothing gets better. And I know what my child would want. My child would want this." So although nothing will ever bring Shanda back, and nothing can alter the horrible things that the 4 girls did to her, perhaps Shanda's mom and sister can move on with their lives. What do you think about this case?
Well, it sounds like Shanda's mom moved on with her life as much as she could, especially to actually, donate a dog back to Melinda. Oh, bitch, man. Okay, now I'm gonna get mad again. First of all, y'all, why in the hell all on free today? Cause when we were looking at the interview with who that was, Hope, and I'm like, damn, she don't even look like she in prison. All these motherfuckers went to prison. They got the 60 years at first, what they should have served, but end up appealing and whatever. And I don't even think Emma said exactly how long they got, but I'm just gonna assume they got like 20 some years. Probably ain't even get that much. Ain't no telling how much time they served, bro. Ain't no way none of them motherfuckers should have ever got out of prison. That's all I'm trying to say. All their ass should be locked up forever, man. In my opinion, bro. Like, for real, bro. They should be locked the fuck up. That's why I hate how the system be doing this shit. Giving certain people this amount of time. Then you get 32 years. But no, I'm going to give you 21 years. Hey, the next murderer that we face in this court, we're going to give them 55 years. Then we'll give them some life. It's like, bro, why y'all? I just feel like all these damn, y'all know, I done said this shit a million damn times. All these damn murderers, man, just get their ass life or the death penalty and be done with it. You took a life, you shouldn't be able to enjoy your life no more. Them women, one of them even had kids and all that, all them women out today, bro, enjoying their fucking life, and they ended a girl's life at 12 years old. She ain't get to live none of these damn years. She, you know what I'm saying? She ain't get to live half of the time they live now. Probably a third of, 3 times. They probably lived 3 times the time that she died at 12, man. This shit crazy. I be talking so goddamn much to y'all, man. I can't help it, though. I fuck with these videos, man. I fuck with y'all, man. I enjoy doing this shit, my people. And hey, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, comment, subscribe, do all that good shit right there. And until I see y'all again, my friends, got a couple more things to say. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.